All of our attention has been focused on other parts of the world and raging conflicts between people who want to seek land that was either once theirs or they either once perceived was theirs. Gaza and Israel, Russia and Ukraine, China and Taiwan. In fact, by the way, this past weekend, yesterday on Sunday, China sent over 6 spy balloons over Taiwan. Remember that whole fiasco that happened here a year ago? They sent over the spy balloon and said it was for weather purposes. Well, they did the same thing to Taiwan yesterday and also said it was for weather purposes. But putting that aside, so obviously the world has been focused on those events, but we have overlooked a big story that came from North Korea, and that is that North Korea is rewriting its constitution in order to define South Korea as their principal enemy and foe, and to say that they actively seek reunification with South Korea. Now look, North Korea has always wanted reunification with South Korea, okay? The whole war, what didn't end so well for them. They didn't want to agree to a dividing line at the 38th parallel. It's not exactly a secret, but I think it is significant that now Kim Jong-un is being overt about it. He once put up a farce that, we're fine with having the two countries divided, even though obviously he wasn't. But now he's really trumpeting what he really wants, and I think that's significant. But let's first look at what happened. So this is a story that came out about 2 weeks ago. Didn't really even make the cover pages of most big newspapers. What's important to know, too, is that in addition to this story, it's occurring right alongside another development in North Korea, and that is that they are very, very, very close to having the ability to deliver a nuclear warhead on an intercontinental ballistic missile. So North Korea has had nuclear weapons since the 1990s, but what's different now is that they are now close to having the capability to have delivery systems for those nuclear weapons, so they can actually put those nukes to use if they want to. So President or dictator Kim Jong-un of North Korea came out with a speech, and he basically excoriated the United States of America and South Korea for, quote, raising tensions on the Korean Peninsula. How are South Korea and the United States raising tensions? Well, according to Kim Jong-un, we have expanded joint military exercises. That is true. We have. We've partnered with South Korea to do these joint military exercises around the region, in large part because of the threat of China. China is encroaching on Taiwan. They've been very overt about that. China also is seizing islands in the South China Sea. So we've partnered with our ally South Korea to do some exercises in the event that China decides to invade Taiwan. Apparently, Kim Jong-un views that as raising tensions and perhaps even escalating towards war risk, using his words. So that's one reason he cited. Another reason is that the United States and South Korea have pursued a trilateral security cooperation with Japan. So he's saying that these are very aggressive developments from the United States. So essentially, he has gone forward and said, well, we in North Korea, we're going to rewrite our constitution. So now they have a provision, or they're going to put in a provision, which defines South Korea as North Korea's, quote, principal foe and invariable principal enemy. Not mincing words there exactly. And then also in the Constitution, he's saying that there's going to be a provision affirming that the North plans on, quote, completely occupying, subjugating, and reclaiming South Korea and annexing it, quote, as part of the territory of our republic if another war breaks out. Kim Jong-un also ordered the, quote, complete elimination of such concepts as reunification, reconciliation, and fellow countrymen from the national history of our republic. So they have abolished certain committees, which were at least nominally for the purposes of the reunification or peaceful coexistence between North Korea and South Korea. They've abolished the National Committee for Peaceful Reunification, which was established after the Korean War in 1961. They've done away with the National Economic Cooperation Bureau and the Diamond Mountain International Tourism Administration, as well as, quote, other tools which exist for North-South dialogue, negotiations, and cooperations. Wow. Kim Jong-un also wants to cut off cross-border railway sections on the 38th parallel, and then as kind of a ceremonial gesture, he wants to get rid of a monument in Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, which honors the idea of reunification. So look, the fact that they're rewriting North Korea's constitution doesn't really mark a huge change in what they have always wanted. As I said, this is what they have always endeavored for. But I think it is significant that now they are comfortable being very, very overt about it. Similarly, look at China and Taiwan. The Chinese Communist Party, ever since Chiang Kai-shek and the Nationalist Party founded Taiwan in 1949, or took control of Taiwan in 1949, ever since then, the CCP has wanted to reunite, to use their words, i.e. forcibly seize control of Taiwan. But only in the past, few decades, really the past 1 decade, has the CCP been so comfortable as to very overtly say that. In the 20th Party Congress in October of 2022, President Xi Jinping of China got up and he said, the reunification of the motherland must be achieved. It must be achieved. And everyone in the audience clapped. He has said, on the international stage, not just in his own party Congress, but with Vladimir Putin, with other leaders, very publicly. He has said, we are going to take Taiwan. It's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And so it shows that these dictatorial authoritarian regimes are now not really fearing the West. They're not really thinking that the West has a lot of bite. We used to be very strong in saying to North Korea and in China, hey, if you go into these places, there will be consequences. We will defend these people as we have done in the past. But now these dictators know that we're kind of nonchalant about this. And so it's significant that they are being so forthcoming with what they are saying. John Bolton, who is the former national security advisor under Donald Trump, he's also the guy that wrote, what was that book called? Like The Man in the Room. He wrote this big expose on President Donald Trump, but he was his national security advisor. He wrote a Wall Street Journal editorial about this North Korea rewriting its constitution development, and he raised what I thought were some really good points. He said that this is a referendum on not just American policy, but also South Korean policy. And specifically, he said left-wing policy. He said that the South Korean government has kind of pursued what they call a sunshine policy of détente and appeasement, allowing North Korea to continue its nuclear capabilities because, we just want to be friends with them. But John Bolton is saying, well, I think now they are regretting having such kind of easy or at least peaceful relations. Now, obviously, if you're South Korea, you would want to have as peaceful relations as possible with North Korea. But John Bolton is saying that we, the United States, should have helped South Korea kind of have more of a strong stance against North Korea.
The book was called The Room Where It Happened.
The Room Where It Happened.
Yeah.
What did I say? The Man in the Room?
Yeah.
Close enough. He also, John Bolton, is saying that Kim Jong-un is following what Deng Xiaoping, one of the previous leaders of communist China, the one after Mao, the Kim Jong-un is following Deng Xiaoping's hide and bide approach, which is essentially, according to John Bolton, quote, concealing their growing nuclear and ballistic missile programs and awaiting a docile regime in Washington. Well, they've done that. They haven't broadcasted in our faces that they are doing well as far as their nuclear capabilities and getting close to delivering a nuclear warhead on an intercontinental ballistic missile. But they have been continuing down that road. And now that there's a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man in the White House, they now feel comfortable coming forward with what they want to do, which is take back South Korea. I'm not so sure that this will happen in the immediate future. It very well might. I think that China's invasion of Taiwan is much more likely to happen in the immediate future, but I think if North Korea does invade South Korea, it will be because China told them to do so and gave them the approval to do so. Because North Korea is beholden to China for its existence. China supported it in the Korean War and continues to help it evade international sanctions, helps Kim Jong-un and the regime launder money. So North Korea will do whatever China tells them to do. So as long as there is an ascendant China, which there is now, there's going to be an ascendant North Korea too.